There is a shark swimming in the ocean right now, and it belongs to a family that is older than trees. Not older than your grandfather's grandfather, not older than the pyramids, older than trees, older than the entire concept of a forest, older than wood itself existing as a material on planet Earth. Sit with that for a second, because it sounds like a mistake. It sounds like something got the dates mixed up, but it didn't. Here is what most people picture when they think about ancient life on Earth. Dinosaurs stomping through thick green jungles, towering trees with vines hanging down, maybe a pterodactyl flying overhead. That picture is wrong in a very specific way. Before any of that, before a single tree had ever grown on this planet, sharks were already cruising through the oceans. Not early ancestors of sharks, not something vaguely shark-shaped. Actual sharks, with the same basic body plan they still have today. The shark fossil record begins around 450 million years ago. The first true trees did not show up until the Middle Devonian, about 385 million years ago. That is a gap of around 65 million years. To put that in a way that actually means something, the gap between sharks and trees is bigger than the gap between the death of the dinosaurs and right now. Sharks were already old news by the time the first tree managed to grow. So what was the world even like when sharks showed up? There was no wood, no leaves, no bark, no roots digging into soil. The closest thing to a forest on Earth at this time was a low scrubland of knee-high vascular plants growing in damp coastal margins. That's it. Knee-high green fuzz hugging the coastline. Nothing tall enough to cast a shadow. Nothing with a trunk. The land was mostly bare rock and dirt, completely silent, completely still. Meanwhile, underwater, sharks were already cruising around as an established lineage. Sharks by then had already been an ocean lineage for 30 million years by the time those first scrubby little plants were even managing to survive on land. Imagine being a shark in that world. No trees exist yet. No bird is going to fly over your head one day. Because birds are hundreds of millions of years away from existing either. You are swimming through oceans on a planet that has barely figured out how to grow anything taller than your fingernail. And you already look basically the way you do now. Here's the part that genuinely messes with people once they actually understand it. We tend to assume evolution is this constant race towards something better. Simple organisms slowly turning into complicated ones, getting upgraded generation after generation like phone models. Newer always means improved. Sharks blow that idea apart completely. Even though sharks first appeared 450 million years ago, many of the core features that make them such successful hunters were already in place at that point. Sharp senses, multiple rows of teeth, the ability to replace lost teeth constantly throughout their lives. The blueprint worked. So evolution basically left it alone. While almost every other major group of animals on Earth has been completely rebuilt and reshaped over hundreds of millions of years, sharks found a design that worked and stuck with it. The first confirmed shark, called Cladocellaceae, lived around the same time as the first trees and already looked very similar to sharks swimming around today. Think about how strange that actually is. Trees have changed enormously since they first appeared. The first trees on Earth didn't even look like real trees. They looked more like giant fern stalks with a strange crown of foliage stuck on top. Nothing like an oak or a pine. Trees kept evolving and changing and branching into thousands of different forms. Sharks just stayed sharks. And the timing gets even stranger the deeper you go. Sharks weren't just around before trees. They were around before some things you'd assume have existed forever. Sharks are older than the North Star, older than the Atlantic Ocean, and older than the rings of Saturn. Read that again slowly. The ocean separating two entire continents didn't exist yet. The rings around Saturn, something that feels like it should be as permanent and ancient as the universe itself, formed after sharks were already an established line of predators on Earth. Sharks have outlived geography. They have outlived entire planetary features that we treat as fixed, permanent facts about the solar system. So how did they survive this long? Because surviving 450 million years isn't just about getting lucky once. It's about getting lucky or being built well enough over and over and over again through disaster after disaster. In that time, sharks have witnessed massive geological upheavals, such as the formation of the continents, the rise and fall of the dinosaurs, and 5 separate mass extinction events. The asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, the Permian extinction, often called the Great Dying, which which killed off the vast majority of all life on Earth. Ice ages, supervolcanoes, entire epochs that reset what kind of life was even possible on this planet. Sharks swam through every single one of them. Most species on Earth get one shot, one environment they're suited for, one set of conditions. And if those conditions change too fast, that's it. Sharks have absorbed 5 planetary catastrophes and kept going. Now here's the question that actually matters, the one that sticks with you after the facts settle in. If sharks have survived 5 mass extinctions over 450 million years, what exactly were they doing right? Some of it really might just be the design. A streamlined, cartilage-based body is lighter and more flexible than bone, easier to repair, and good enough to hunt in almost any ocean condition you throw at it. Multiple rows of constantly regenerating teeth mean a shark never has to worry about losing its only weapon. Sharp senses mean it can find food in murky water, deep water, cold water, warm water, basically any water. It's not a flashy design. It's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. It's just relentlessly functional in a way that apparently didn't need fixing for nearly 500 million years. There's something almost humbling about that if you actually let yourself think about it. We measure age in human terms constantly. Old buildings, old trees, old civilizations. We call the pyramids ancient, and they are at roughly 4,500 years old. We call redwood trees ancient too, some of them pushing 2,000 years old, standing there since before the Roman Empire fell. Sharks make all of that look brand new. A shark swimming in the ocean today carries a body plan that predates trees, predates the Atlantic Ocean, predates Saturn's rings, and has personally survived the deaths of over 90% of all species that have ever existed on this planet, 5 separate times. And it's still out there right now. Not in a museum, not as a fossil, swimming somewhere in an ocean today. There's a shark doing exactly what its ancestors were doing 450 million years before the very first tree managed to grow.